I'm a pretty big fan of the original movie, The Stepfather, the 1987 thriller that, with the help of Terry O'Quinn of Lost fame in the lead role and Donald Westlake, the famed crime novelist, as a co-scripter, was actually a really surprisingly fun B-movie thriller that epitomized the best of 80s B-movie thrillers. So, believe it or not, I was actually kind of interested in watching the Stepfather remake, even though it looked a little bit Generation Y, if you will, kind of along the lines of the Prom Night remake from a few years back. It seemed like the trailer had enough interesting moments in it, and I knew that the original film was good, so I thought, well, hey, maybe it'll be worth watching. And I can't say that it's not worth watching at all, but I can say that it's a pretty toothless remake that really, if you're going to watch something, you may as well just go back and watch the original over again. The problems with the film a lot stem from the cast. Dylan Walsh is normally a fine actor, but he doesn't play the part quite right. What made Terry O'Quinn so great was the fact that even though you knew he was a bad guy, he still made himself very likable and seemed very normal. With Dylan Walsh, you know something is off with him from the start. There's just something off about him from the very beginning. You never see that thing about him that would cause any of the characters in the film to ever trust him. You think he's untrustworthy pretty much from the start. And that's not really the way to play this character. In addition, Penn Badgley of Gossip Girl fame is pretty terrible here. Now, I'm not a Gossip Girl hater. It's not a show that I watch regularly, but I've seen it, and I think he's fine on it. But in this role, he's just kind of terrible. I don't know what it is about it. I don't know if it's the fault of the director, who is Nelson McCormick. I believe he actually also directed that Prom Night remake from a couple years ago. But the film is just so blandly PG-13. There's never anything interesting about it. Admittedly, the last 20 minutes or so, the climax does get interesting just to kind of see where they go with it, and some of the action scenes are filmed nicely, but overall, this is a film that really doesn't have a whole lot to interest people. Now, on Blu-ray, the film looks very good. It's a pretty standard Blu-ray transfer, but, it's a modern film. It's a recent film. It's got nice color saturation, excellent image clarity, good contrast, just a hint of grain to keep that kind of cinematic feel, even though there are times where the movie looks a little bit like a shot on video almost, but not quite. It's that high shutter speed sort of approach to filmmaking. And the surround soundtrack also holds up quite well. This is a good soundtrack. It's got some good use of the surround channels. The rear speakers pipe up more often than you would necessarily expect them to. And while it's not an action film, there are long periods of dialogue-driven scenes, the film does have a pretty good mix. There's a good ambiance to it, so it certainly sounds pretty good overall. In terms of extra features, the Blu-ray comes with your pretty basic array of extra features for a movie like this. You get a gag reel, a commentary with Penn Badgley, Dylan Walsh, and the director, Nelson McCormick, and two featurettes, one called Open House, Making the Film, and one called Visualizing the Stunts, which, as you can imagine, are your general making of and a featurette on these stunts. And finally, you get Sony's Movie IQ feature, which is, of course, like their live IMDb interface that kind of gives you trivia and stuff like that about the cast and the making of the film as you watch it in text format. So ultimately, if you're a teenager looking for a movie that you can rent without mom and dad that's in the horror genre, The Stepfather certainly will fit that bill, but anybody else who's looking for something a little more interesting will probably be disappointed.